Hello everyone. Today I'm going to continue talking to you about your research project, with the cumulative project being a PowerPoint that you will present in this class to share with your classmates. I have approved your research topic proposals and given you feedback in the SAFE assignment where you submitted the proposal. So I hope that all of you have had the opportunity to go in and look at that. And I've made some different suggestions and that type of thing. So if there's any type of communication that we need to have as a result of that, please keep that as an ongoing communication. And if I approved it and said that you were ready to go, then it's time to start on the projects. So a couple of changes. I want to make it very clear to you that we are no longer going to be completing a literature review as part of this assignment. I've switched that over to an APA annotated bibliography. I think that's going to be much more worthwhile and conducive to the project that you're doing. Anytime you're teaching and you see that there's a lot of questions, and there were questions over their literature review, I think that it's more appropriate to do the annotated bibliography. So I've made those changes, and that's what we will be completing on this. And I'm going to talk to you in just a little bit about how to do an APA annotated bibliography. So we will cover that today as well. I've provided with you a list of professional journals, and there's quite a bit of explanation in that. So I would like for you to be sure and read over the information, and then the list of peer-reviewed articles is provided for you, so that these are resources that you will want to be looking into and using for your research project. The reason we're looking at peer-reviewed, it means that these have been submitted and reviewed by a committee of doctoral level peers before this article or journal article or research paper can be submitted into a professional journal. For this type of project that we're using, you may go ahead and include some other great resources. In fact, there's a place for you to do that in your rubric in your research paper. So if I had written an article and it had some really interesting information and talking about how I create literacy centers in my classroom, I'm not saying that we won't include that, but it would not have gone through a peer-reviewed process. So there's going to be a difference between including things that you feel like are going to enhance your project, that you want to include some information from and you want to share, as opposed to the peer-reviewed articles where you'll be getting your research-based information from. There will not be in-text citations for this paper because it's going to be the PowerPoint and you're going to make reference to the sources that you utilize. So we won't be worried about citation. We'll be more worried about the bibliography and the annotated bibliography that we'll talk about. So just wanted to clarify a little bit about that on the list of professional journals. So let's go ahead and open up that rubric again, and we can take a look at the criteria for your actual paper. So let's go ahead and scroll down to where the rubric starts. A little bit different on the Likert scale. The points available for this are 5, being the highest number of points you can earn in each element of the, let's see if we can scoot that over just a little bit, that might be helpful. Each element of the actual paper that you're creating, your research project. 3 points, 2 points, there is not a point for 4 or 1, and if it's simply not included in your paper or it's not done correctly, then 0 points will be allotted for that particular category in the rubric. You can have a total of 90 points possible on this research project. There are 45 points, and there's going to be, it's weighted by 2. So you could earn up to 90 points on this particular research project. It's kind of the big deal of your emergent literacy class. So I'll be looking at the guidelines for that. Correctly cited APA, which would be, there would be 0 errors in your annotated bibliography and your bibliography. There's not in-text citations. So if you have 5 or more resources, that's full points. 1, less than 5 is 3, less than 3 resources results in 2, and then if you do not have any references included and they're not APA, then that would be 0 points. Mechanics, that goes back to the syntax. The expectation is that there will be 0 grammatical or typing errors in this project that you're putting forth to share with your colleagues and with your peers. Make sure that you proofread it. My best suggestion for proofreading is to start at the bottom and read up, because you're not reading for content then, and you might be sure that you would catch any errors that would be in that. You can see the scale for the mechanics. Scope is the content and what is actually in your paper. Your response needs to be concise, related to the topic, and sequential. And you can read through the criteria for that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Application of theory. How are you going to use this theory in your classroom? A minimum of 5 slides needs to be devoted to explaining how you're going to use this in the classroom, and then you're going to include at least 6 strategy for teaching regular students as well as children with special needs. 6 strategies. It's easier if you're doing, possibly if your topic was the big 5, I think this will be reached fairly easily. ELL, that will be absolutely an easy one. If you're going to be talking about family involvement, you might have to change it a little bit to how you can make that applicable to your specific topic. When I talk about the 6x6 rule when we're on the PowerPoint presentation form, a lot of times we talk about we want it to be 6 lines, no more than 6 words per slide. Sometimes that's just not possible to do, so we need to have a minimum of 15 slides, not including the title page, your glossary, or the APA bibliography. And I'm going to be looking at things like attractiveness of your presentation, visual, the font that you use, the background that you're going to be picking, if you're using animation. Make it as interesting as you can. I know we've all done PowerPoints, but for this purpose, and rather than putting together like a Prezi, this actually works better to do the PowerPoint presentation. So when it says, if you have less than 7 slides, that would be where the Likert scale would come in. The 6x6 rule, I'm just talking about for several slides. It doesn't hurt to have 6 lines, 6 words or less, but there will be slides when you have more than that, because you're trying to get more information across in a PowerPoint or in a research type situation. Okay, I want you to include a video, a YouTube video that's going to supplement the information in the presentation and enhance the quality of your information. You either will include the video and it's going to accomplish this for 5 points, or you will not include the video and it does not. So what we want to look for is something that's going to be out there that is at a more professional level, that's going to be talking about your particular topic and showing maybe a classroom where this strategy or technique is actually in place. Maybe it's the theorist, maybe you're talking about constructivism, so you have Jerome Brumer or Lev Vygotsky, and talk about zone of proximal development. Include that in your presentation. That's outstanding. You'll just load that into your actual PowerPoint. The children's literature list, that's going to be the APA format, is going to be, you're going to be collecting a minimum of 10 children's books related to the topic, and you're going to be creating a bibliography and including those. So we can, when we talk about, when you Skype me and have questions about this, we can talk about that if there's any questions on that, but you're going to be including a children's literature list that goes along with your topic. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a challenge depending on what your topic is. Handwriting Without Tears, a great literature resource would be lots of alphabet type books, ABC books, so there's things like that. So some people it will be a little bit more of a stretch, but we'll make it work. I want you to include a glossary of terms. Again, it's the 5 points that's there, the 0 points if it's not included. Key terms that are used in your presentation. If you were talking about constructivism, you're going to give the definition of constructivism. If you're talking about the big five, you're going to talk about each of the five components of that and define what they are. If you're talking about ELL, you could have the definition of ELL, ESOL, all the things that fall into that, and anything that you mention in your particular topic. Websites and resources, an additional reference for us, so a minimum of 5 websites that you can send us to via your research that's going to, again, supplement or enhance. You don't have to have talked about this particularly in your project or included it, but you'll want to share additional resources that are going to be related to your topic. Okay, that's a very quick run through of the rubric, and I want to go ahead and take you to the annotated bibliography section of our paper so that we can see that we're in the Purdue OWL, which is typically the go-to place for writing for APA, and it talks to you about what an annotated bibliography is. You're going to summarize the source that you're using, and this specifically shows you how to do that. And then the best part is if you go down, it's going to show you an example of how to do the annotated bibliography. The example is included in this, and we can take a look at that. I think you might have to go to, when you go to annotated bibliographies, which is where we are right now, I think you're going to have to copy and cut this. I can't get the live link for some reason to come into this. This is included in your research presentation folder. So if you go to annotated bibliography example, it's going to pull up and it's going to show you exactly how to write the annotated bibliography for the APA format. So I think I'm, hopefully meeting the midline. We're not doing all the APA components, but I do think it's important that you start picking some of them up. So this shows you how to write an annotated bibliography, and I think if you follow the examples, you'll be able to get there without too much many problems. So, but again, I'm back into the link in Blackboard, and I'll take you down and show you. I have the Purdue OWL Writing Lab available, but it's going to be better for you to go and copy this link, the annotated bibliography, copy the link, paste it, and then once you're there, right below it are the examples of the bibliography. You'll be submitting the bibliography again by Monday, October the 15th. And I think that I'll stop with that for today. If you have questions, I'm actually going to be on Skype this week from 8 to 10, Monday through Wednesday, because I have another, in my curriculum class, we have unit lesson plans coming in, so I want to be available for questions for that. So I would love it. Again, it's all lowercase, Natalie, Natalie .unruh. That's my Skype ID if you're not on my contact list. And I would love for you to Skype me and ask me specific questions that you might have in regard to your research project. So hopefully this information has been helpful for you. You know what the requirements are now. And again, make this research project something that's really useful for you, that you enjoy doing, and get a good start on that annotated bibliography so that we can have that in by the 15th of October. And if you have questions tonight, be sure and Skype me or any night. Thanks, and have a great evening.